Welcome to Focus on Southeast, a monthly program on issues and events impacting the campus of Southeast Missouri State University. I'm Dan Woods, General Manager of KRCU Public Radio, Southeast Missouri's NPR station. Today we're talking with Southeast President Dr. Carlos Vargas. We'll spend some time today talking about the budget, plans for 2017, and much more. Dr. Vargas, good to see you again.
Hello, how are you, Dan?
Good. Well, how about you?
Very good, thank you.
Excellent.
Excellent.
As you probably know, President Trump recently signed an executive order suspending entry into the United States from Iran, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, and Yemen for at least 90 days. For the spring semester, Southeast has 883 international students on campus. So how many students are being impacted by the order that we know
of? We believe it's less than a dozen students. We've been talking to them, and I think that's just about the number, a little bit less than a dozen, I think.
Okay. Is the university doing anything to sort of help them manage the situation and keep them informed on what's going on?
Yes, we have tried to communicate verbally with each one of them, and we have had success in doing that. Yesterday, I know there was one particular student that we hadn't been able to really connect with. We've attempted to contact by phone and just find out how they're doing and what kinds of questions they may have. Obviously, they're somewhat anxious. There's some anxiety there, and but they understand the fact that there's a little bit of confusion exactly as to how this is developing, and so they understand that we don't necessarily have questions to all of the answers they may have.
Do you have any sense that this sort of situation, if it goes past maybe the 90 days, would that have any impact on enrollment in the future from students from abroad coming to Southeast?
There's always that potential. We're trying to sort of observe how things evolve. You know, these things are, you could say, non-linear. You cannot necessarily extrapolate looking at the direction things are going now. Sometimes these things take turns that are unexpected. So rather than spending much time really speculating, what we're doing is we're trying to make sure that we sort of keep track and monitor what's going on and prepare ourselves for whatever direction we may be moving in.
Okay. Let's shift a little bit and talk about the budget. On the 16th of January, the governor announced plans to cut $146.4 million from Missouri's budget to balance it. Funding for higher education across the state took the biggest hit, with $55.9 million withheld, which I think is about $3.4 million for Southeast.
Yes.
So how is the institution addressing this cut?
Yeah. Well, we immediately got to work, and we have a proposal right now on the table. We're actually finishing it up right now that will allow us to absorb that magnitude of cut, which of course is a one-time cut at this point, without really having to go into any kind of actions that might have people lose their jobs or anything like that. So I'm pleased that we're able to do that at this point. And certainly that is going to impact our ability to do certain things programmatically, but not anything that will have an impact on people's jobs.
Any potential for tuition to have to be raised?
Not this year. I think when we start asking that question, we need to start thinking about, okay, what's going to happen next year? What's going to happen, July 1st? And as you have heard, the governor is about to announce his proposed budget in a couple of days. We're waiting to see what that is going to be like. There are rumors that point to additional cuts, and so if that's the case, we're going to have to look and see what impact what the magnitude of those cuts are and how that is going to impact our operations.
One of the items that was in those cuts was Southeast Cybersecurity Training Program. I want to talk about the cut in a moment, but if you would first just sort of explain that cybersecurity program for those who may not know about it. It's a pretty innovative program that Southeast has.
Right, it's become extremely important. Of course, you know, every organization these days has computers. They communicate electronically. They save data, of course, in electronic form, and those data very often represent credit card information associated to the information from the credit card holder. And we've heard many times in the recent years how people go and hack into those systems and are able to actually get information that can be used then to commit fraud. And so cybersecurity has to do, is a field that has to do with making sure that you develop systems that are safe, that can safeguard the information that you have. And increasingly that type of activity is becoming quite significant. So it's almost like you could almost think of it as an electronic form of war, because you have people trying to protect data, and then you have other people out there trying to get to that data, to those data in electronic form, of course. So you're doing this through software and hardware. And so developing expertise and individuals who are able to find algorithms that prevent people from accessing or stealing those data is very important.
Is that program, it's fairly new if I remember. It's only been on campus a couple of years, but it seems to me that would be one of those things that there'll be a lot of job opportunities in the future for students who are engaged in that particular program.
I think so. I think that there are plenty of opportunities right now, and I think that the opportunities are increasing as we speak. People are very concerned with safeguarding their information that they have. I mean, you can imagine it's not only credit cards, it's medical records for people. And there's all kinds of information that when you think about it being in electronic form, you realize how valuable it is and how people can actually make bad use of that. And so right now there are plenty of opportunities for individuals with expertise in that field. So that's why our cybersecurity program, which as I understand was the first one in Missouri to be established a few years ago. I wasn't here at the time. So that's why we want to make sure that our cybersecurity program remains at the forefront of any developments in that area.
So I'm guessing this particular cut that occurred is not going to end the program. It will just maybe slow down some things that are in the works.
It's going to make us slow down in some areas, but we believe that it's a very valuable program, and there is no danger. There shouldn't be any concern that the program is going to disappear or in any way. So we're just going to see what we do. We need to allocate resources to make sure that the program continues to be sustained and remain viable.
Well, why don't we take a short break?
Very good. Thank you.
And let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Dr. Vargas and ask him about the university's new draft policy addressing tobacco use at the university. You're watching Focus on Southeast. We'll be right back.